Hello, Amos Tarfa here. I hope you're doing well. I hope your day is going well. Just got back from a wedding, so hence the outfit that you see. But I want to talk briefly about three things. I want to inspire you with three quick stories and then tie it back to a video that I just posted on my YouTube. The first story has to do with a guy called Giannis. Who plays for the Milwaukee Bucks. For those of you who follow basketball, you know what's happening. They're playing in the finals. I didn't follow the basketball season as much last season. There are certain reasons. Part of it, I believe, is that there's certain narratives that the NBA was pushing that I just didn't think was true. I didn't think that it was valid. And so I actually made a whole video on why I had concerns about some of the social justice talk from the NBA of last season. Feel free to check out that video in the link below. Again, give me a chance to explain where I'm coming from, and you'll see where I'm coming from. Of course, the last time I checked, I am black, right? So I know that all lives matter. I know that black lives matter, yes. But why people are saying it was my concern. And so I made a whole video explaining why the statement Black Lives Matter is something I'm concerned about. But anyways, that was last season. They had a lot of that going on. It didn't sit well with me at all. I'm just being honest with you. Of course, I want every human being to flourish. I want justice and equality for all. Of course I do. But let's be careful through the means we use. That's what I'm trying to get at. But anyways, back to the inspirational stories. I just wanted to say that for those of you who want to take some time and watch it, the video is a little long, but it goes into detail about just being aware and discerning of the times that you live in. So Giannis' story, I believe, is actually part of what destroys some of that narrative. You have a guy who was basically homeless in Greece, right? From the story that I watched and looked up online, and some of you might know his story. But you have someone from Greece. He's Nigerian, by the way. His parents are Nigerian. That's what I mean. He's of Nigerian descent. So his parents are Nigerian. His father was a soccer player. His mother was a high jumper. And it's fascinating, my friends, where these people moved to Greece, basically had to start a new life. And then Giannis wanted to play soccer, but eventually, this guy kept coming back and asking him if he wanted to play basketball. The interesting thing is the guy that kept asking him if he wanted to play basketball was actually looking for his brother initially before he actually recruited Giannis to play. Anyways, Giannis started playing basketball. He came to the United States eventually and started playing professionally. And you're talking about a guy here who came from another country, but he brought his skill set and he brought his hard work. And now this guy is making about $45 million a year, about $18,000 an hour. This is America, my friends. It's unbelievable that you can come from any place, right? And you can get a chance to shine. Sorry, I'm getting a little passionate here as I share about this, but this country gives people a blessed opportunity. It gives them an opportunity to flourish in spite of any of their background. Now, is there work to do to get more people to keep shining? Well, definitely. But we need to remember that we should not bite the hands that have fed us, as they say in Africa. Don't bite the hands that have fed you. Don't be angry and bashing the country that has blessed you with so much while you aspire to see things get better in the different fields that have truths that need to be changed. So again, when we talk about change in different fields, we need to make sure that we're addressing an actual issue and we do our best to address that issue. I talk a lot about this in my video. Please feel free to check it out and just watch it with an open mind to hear from someone else's perspective on this whole discussion. So that's the first story, is watching a guy come from Greece, come to America, play well and go far, and now is in the NBA Finals going into Game 5. I just find it fascinating, and I think it's amazing what can happen. Number two is a guy who was an Olympian. This is a quick story, who did gymnastics. He's from Brazil, and I saw that he had competed a few years ago, and he did his stunts. Now, I did gymnastics for fun after school, so I know how to do backflips and back handsprings and all of that. But I watched this guy doing all this backflips and all this, and he was doing great, but he fell when he did his last stunt. He fell down, and this happened in like the 2008 Olympics, and that meant he basically didn't make the cut. He didn't get a medal. Then 4 years later, he came back and he tried, and he also fell again, and he didn't get a medal. But in 2016, he tried and he did his stunt and he landed. And you can see the excitement he had. My friends, part of what I'm trying to say is this. If it takes 4 years between Olympics and this guy did not give up, he could have just said, I'm done with gymnastics after 2008. But he said, I'm not going to give up, right? He came back in 2012. He came back in 2016. Don't give up, which leads to my last story. When I think of the 100-meter race, and I was also a runner, so the 100-meter race, and I ran 400 meters when I was in ninth grade in school. But if you think of the 100-meter race, I couldn't compete at the level of some of those guys, right? And we remember a lot of these people that were running 100 meters. They did exceptionally well. But when you look at the 100-meter race, here's what's interesting. There's only about 10 seconds for that race. Like, the whole thing happens in about 10 seconds. But did you know just because you have a bad start to that race doesn't mean that it's over for you? I watched people like Usain Bolt and other people who had a bad start. But you know what was amazing? What was amazing is that they got back in shape, got with the right posture they needed, and they kept running, and they made it to the end and won the race. If somebody can win a race that takes 10 seconds for the whole thing to happen, tell me why we cannot take a step back and see whatever we need to do in our lives to get going and get to the finish line of whatever we're trying to work on. Think about that. People who have 10 seconds can still make it to the finish line. By God's grace, we can get to the finish line of whatever projects we're working on, because we don't have 10 seconds most of the time, right? Of course, this could vary in what field you're talking about, but generally, think about it. We should keep applying ourselves. Don't give up. And remember, if you live in America, you are blessed. And I'm not going to go into details of many things that I experienced growing up outside America and many opportunities that I didn't have while growing up where I grew up. But I want to tell you that you're blessed. Does that mean we shouldn't try to make things, give many people opportunities to flourish? Definitely not. We keep doing what we can, but let's not believe lies that the culture is trying to feed. Let's instead tell people to be who God made them to be. Recognize where people need to recognize that they're sinners in need of truth and in need of a savior. That's something that people need to know. And ultimately, it's all about knowing Jesus and living for Jesus. That's what life is about, my friends. And thank you for your time. I hope you've been inspired, as I have been, as I've watched some of these stories of people that bounced back up and moved on. Take care and have a blessed weekend.